we comply with section 208 and 209 of the Elections Act and to conduct and notify its intra-party election to the Election Commission of Pakistan. Again, had this been done right until the 7th even,
what difference would it make?
then they could have contested, my lord, on their own.
How could they?
How would they have? आपका अपना schedule पे defeat हो जाता सारा, because they would be behind on everything.
They
You would have made an exception here again.
मैं अपना देखें, the schedule, the election schedule started. Let's go back to the election schedule, my lord.
20th December. It is 20th December.
So, as a special, I am just making a
No, as a
suggestion that
special under which power?
Ji.
As a special concession under which power you would have to resort to section 240.
2183 read with
That's a-
4 and 9.
That's a tough one. I mean, that's a tough one.
My lord will
That's a
take,
difficult
but my
one.
lord, as counsel I'm
Because
making.
you're unrolling a lot of things which factually could not have been unrolled had they
I am
gone
so
ahead
happy
with it.
that the bench is saying all of this to me, because I'm happy to hear all of this, that
आपके
no
पास-
special exemptions,
एक direct
2183 doesn't apply.
दोनों आपके पास एक डायरेक्ट पावर शायद होता 240 का, वो जब उस वक्त तो आपने इस्तेमाल किया
Fair
नहीं।
enough, sir.
उस वक्त आपको
I gave my submission. I bow to my lord's observation.
Sikandar,
Sir.
but why have you taken the date of 13th of January to the 7th of February? The matter of election was pending with the Election Commission of Pakistan years before.
My lord,
And
they were
years before.
2-3 years before.
PTI had said, give us more time, give us more time. So this is the end result of a consequence. But the date was much earlier in time. So don't put attribute or blame to the Supreme Court.
No, my lord, that
Make
was,
that the starting
that was
point.
not my. मैंने तो my lord ECP से शुरू किया and I did
नहीं,
not.
उससे पहले कानून कहता है इलेक्शन
Fair
करा
enough.
लें.
My lord, I was counsel in that case myself.
तो वो
Several
डेट
years-
शुरू हो रही है. देखिए डेट ये तो वो एग्जॉशन पे आ गए ना.
I was just dealing with
ये
the
तो
exhaustion
या तो आप कह रहे हैं वो क्या होता है आजकल फुटबॉल चल रही है तो एक्स्ट्रा टाइम में चले गए या एक्स्ट्रा टाइम के बाद और भी टाइम होता है ना वो
This was an
इंजरी
extra
टाइम में चले
time,
गए.
and I was duly corrected in a sense by the bench.
ओरिजिनल गेम ऑफ वाज द 90 मिनट
First 90 minutes पहले के थे.
वो आपको करना था एक सर्टेन मुद्दत में. वो था असल चीज.
I bow to my
But the
lord.
less time you spend on point 3, the better.
आगे
I'm
बढ़ते
moving. That's why I'm seeking to move rapidly to my last
मिस्टर
point.
काउंसिल देखिए वो तो इलेक्शन हो गए थे, वो इलेक्शन इंट्रा पार्टी उन्होंने कर लिए थे. सवाल ये था कि whether they came up, whether they lawful or not. That point you said no. One consequence you said not entitled to election symbol. But सवाल ये था कि इलेक्शन जायज हुए या नहीं हुए. जायज से मुराद लीगली हुए.
With compliant with 208 or not.
And that issue, that particular point ultimately actually crystallized on the 13th of January when it attained finality with the judgment of the Supreme Court, which upheld your order. So in that sense, speaking for myself, I can understand your 14th January through to 7th February
Extra time argument will call it.
but my question is, वो जो आपको कानून जिसको जो 240 है उसको तो पहले आपने
My lord, मैं बस तेज अपने अगले सबमिशन पे जा रहा हूँ.
देखिए you have to be fair. अब कह रहे हैं कि जी वो कर लेते तो हम फिर 240 या 218 या ये वो इन्वोक करते. अरे भाई 22-12 को जब आपने किया उस वक्त करते ना, बता देते कि जी इलेक्शन सिंबल तो हमने ले लिया, हम रादर हम दे नहीं सकते. No, let me rephrase that. Actually, आपने लिया, आपके पास डिस्कशन थी, आपने ले लिया, लेकिन आप पार्टी हैं फॉर दिस इलेक्शन, वो आपने उस वक्त किया नहीं. अब आप जब इशू फाइनली क्रिस्टलाइज हो गया, अल्टीमेटली डिटर्मिन हो गया, आपका ऑर्डर अपहोल्ड हो गया, अब फिर आप मुद्दा उन पे डाल रहे हैं. ये तो गैर मुनासिब
ये
बात है.
third point जरा आगे
My lord, I'll move on.
नहीं मगर आपकी देखें ये गैर मुनासिब बात, मजीद आपकी गैर मुनासिब बात ये है कि जो ये तो तस्लीम शुदा है, ये आपका मौक़िफ़ नहीं है. उन्होंने कहा कि जी हमने इलेक्शन नहीं करा सके, हमें 1 साल का मजीद वक्त दीजिए. तो एक्स्ट्रा टाइम अगर गेम खेला ही नहीं गया,
There was a lot of extra time.
देखिए गेम खेला ही नहीं गया तो कहना कि जी हमने गेम खेल लिया, तो वो जरा मुनासिब बात नहीं है, क्योंकि ये तो तस्लीम शुदा बात है। अगर हम आगाज करेंगे सबसे पहले तो उन्होंने खुद ही आपको दरख्वास्त की जब प्राइम मिनिस्टर थे कि जी मुझे साल देते हैं, आपने इतना फराखदिली दिखाई, आपने कहा साल ले लो पहले। तो फिर ये आप जो है ना, ये आप अपना कवर करने के लिए हम पे डाल रहे हैं, मगर आप कसूरवार थे। आपने साल अगर ना देते, कुछ कम वर्ष देते तो शायद हो जाती बात।
Point 4 is the
Point 4. Madam, my point 4 is that
एक सेकंड सब एक थोड़ा सा इसमें, क्योंकि
my lord.
बार बार इस जजमेंट का जिक्र हो रहा है 13 जनवरी का। अगर जो आपने हमें ये CMA दी है 5839 सेकंड वॉल्यूम, अगर आप देखें ये बड़ा नाम है अली मोहम्मद खान साहब, ठीक। अली मोहम्मद खान साहब ने अपने डॉक्यूमेंट्स जमा किए 24/12/2023 को। डेट नोट करें 13/1/2024 में जजमेंट आ रही है, लेकिन ये डॉक्यूमेंट सबमिट हो रहे हैं 24/12/2023।
because this was the last date for filing of nomination papers under the election program.
इस तारीख को जो उन्होंने पेपर जमा किए, पेज 175 पे डिक्लेरेशन में अगर आप देखें, आप पढ़े जरा डिक्लेरेशन में, वॉल्यूम 2
yeah.
5839। इस तरह बेशुमार है, चूंकि अली मोहम्मद खान साहब के मेरे सामने आ गए तो इसलिए मैं, हिज डिक्लेरेशन फॉर्म इज नील 5839
और पेज क्या था? I beg your
175 सेकेंड वॉल्यूम।
जी।
ये देखें इसके डिक्लेरेशन, आई बिलोंग टू
NA23, I belong to
nil.
blank.
ब्लैंक है और उन्होंने साथ सर्टिफिकेट कभी नहीं लिखा।
तो 12 को आपका ऑर्डर आ गया हुआ था ना कि that's not a party or a
नहीं तो वो लिख लेते, बाकियों ने भी लिखा है। सिंपल के वाले से ये बात नहीं आई कि आप इंडिपेंडेंट हो, ये सर्टिफिकेट इनका नहीं आया, ना इन्होंने डिक्लेरेशन लिखी। क्या इनको पहले से पता था कि उनको सिंबल नहीं मिलेगा, या इनको पहले से पता था कि वो डिबार होंगे? ये सिर्फ एक, प्लीज, ये एक नहीं है। सारी रात में इसको देखता रहा, इसमें बेशुमार ऐसे हैं
तो जो
ब्लैंक है या जिन्होंने शुरू से इंडिपेंडेंट लिखा है। तो क्या 24 दिसंबर तक जजमेंट आने से पहले इनको इल्हाम हुआ? ये मुझे समझ नहीं आती कि
there's a lot of things जो समझ नहीं आती वो देख के।
सिकंदर साहब,
मैं fourth पे आ जाऊं जी। Thank you, my lord. My lord, my fourth submission is that CMA 3554 of 2024, which has CP number nil attached to it. My lord, this is the CPLA which hasn't been numbered. This is the number of the CMA, and then it says CMA in CP number nil, which is filed by Kawal Shahzeb. Whatever. Mr. Kawal Show.
That's English. I mean, I thought Urdu was a
My
problem.
lord, bus it's. I beg your pardon, sir. I actually have told them I've been making the Shahzada ko main Sahibzada kar raha hu aur Sahibzada ko maine Shahzada. I beg your pardon. But my lord, coming back to this, give me the volume.
3554.
No, give me the volume.
They have this excellent languages school here in Islamabad called Namal.
Namal, I'm going to enroll, my
Our
lord.
program could help
I will, my lord, I will.
on the lighter side.
Yes.
Go ahead.
My lord, in my defense, I only went to school and read Urdu till class 6 in Pakistan. Then I was not here. I went to school.
So you 3554?
3554, my lord. My lord, simple. If the paper book is there before my lords, I'm referring to the main CPLA. Kawal Show Zab.
वो बैठी हुई आप इनसे पूछ लें इनका नाम क्या है?
I will take that also. My lord, I just have a straightforward submission here that based on the averments in paragraph 2 of this CPLA nil, the petitioner has no locus at all. Her locus is based on anticipation and hope that one day she may be named in the Form 66. That is too remote to entitle the petitioner to be heard. My lord has heard learned counsel for this petitioner by way of grace is what I would say, but strictly applying the general principles this court normally applies to regulate its jurisdiction in these matters, this petitioner has absolutely no locus standi, and that is the ECP's submission that this be dismissed simply on that basis.
What is her prayer in this petition? Prayer clause zara padhe.
Her prayer, sir, is... ये तो CPLA है, so they'll be seeking leave to appeal only here, my lord.
26 page pay prayer.
जी, बिल्कुल, sir. It is therefore most respectfully prayed that this honorable court may be pleased to grant leave to the petitioner against the impugned judgment dated this, passed by a division bench of the Honorable High Court. And my lord, very technically speaking, this prayer has been granted because this is a civil appeal now. So this is a civil appeal. This prayer is granted in T33. That is, my lord, my fourth submission, and now I will conclude, my lord, by my lord, Mr. Justice, where are the books?
Oh, I didn't quite get your fourth submission.
My lord, my fourth submission was simply that the other CP, nil, the petitioner has no locus standi to file that, should not be heard. Its submissions cannot be taken into consideration because simply could not come directly to the Supreme Court, is not an aggrieved person, is not going to be affected by this judgment in a direct manner or to an extent that would entitle her to be heard and for the CPLA to be numbered. It should be dismissed on that basis alone. And the description she has given herself of herself, she is still in the PTI and is head some wing of the women's wing. That paragraph 2 of her petition sets out her own details according to herself. Based on those, she has no locus. My lord, the next submission, Lord, the next one is for Mr. Justice Yahya Afridi at the end of the hearing, on the last date, sought names of the members of the PTI, let me say it like this, who were elected as independents but have to date not joined for their own choice, not joined SIC. So they are in Parliament and they remain and act as independents and are not formally part of SIC. There are 4 such gentlemen, my lord, and very quickly, if my lord would like, I can take my lord through the papers. Sir, would you like to go through them or should I just leave it at that?
फिर से बता दें, these 4 have what?
These 4 are, my lord, एक कागज देख लेते हैं कि उन्होंने क्या किया and it will become clear. So the first one is Mr. Gohar Ali Khan, who is chairman of, he is supposedly chairman of PTI. This is his nomination form, my lord. On tab, ये पूरा एक set, sir. So एक tab में there's one individual. So there's 4 of them, and E is the list that my lord had asked for, which is Form 66. So would my lords like me to quickly take my lord through this one, or just leave it at that?
इसमें एक problem है.
Sir.
Problem ये है, how do you please come, ये जो आपने हमें ये दिया था.
Table.
Please इस पे आए.
Sir, table.
There are 6 candidates which are returned candidates. Please come to serial number 4.
NA4, sir?
NA4.
बिल्कुल, sir.
You see, he gave a declaration. इसने दिया PTI का, इसने अपने पार्टी का सर्टिफिकेट भी दिया.
जी.
लेकिन इसने कोई written application या withdrawal की बात नहीं की. How have you treated him?
He became independent. वही sir, वो section 67(3).
So, Mr. Taking that further,
Sir.
I went through your consolidated list, and the purest version gives me about 9 names that have a nomination and a certificate. And so if we were to interpret 67, and suppose, speaking for myself, the interpretation goes that they could not have been declared independent, they, thinking loud, they would have contested election on behalf of PTI. So that becomes a political party. In that case, you'll have to come up with a revised list under 98, That gives all the independents another 3 days to make an election where they want to go, and they have a choice whatever they want to do, and that can solve the whole problem. Don't you
ये
think?
पहली डेट भी माय लॉर्ड ने ऑब्जर्व किया था
ये हो सकता है।
माय लॉर्ड
मतलब अगर आप ये
Can I respond to that?
को क्लियर कर दें तो सारा मसला।
may I submit to
What's wrong with this strategy?
I'll with utmost respect I'll respond. The 3-day period is set in stone because it is set out in 51D and
Right.
E and cannot be touched.
It starts from when the results are declared. So if the entire
ठीक है जी.
interpretation
I got my lord's point. My submission is that 3-day period starts and it is set in stone. I mean, it cannot be 6.
जरा सुन लीजिए ये I'll go back to what you so 4 ये आ गए जो आपने अभी दिए यहाँ पे 9 है टोटल
जी हाँ.
लेकिन 9 में 3 ऐसे हैं जिनमें आपने कहा है कि उनने ओरली या राइटिंग आप देखें ना
मैं कहता हूं जी.
प्लीज कम टू सीरियल नंबर 2
Serial number 2
अली खान
written application उनकी तो है.
इसने जो रिटन एप्लीकेशन दिया या ओरल दिया
सर ये अगर टिक लगा हुआ है तो ये तो written होगा.
रिटन ओके जी एंड सीरियल नंबर 4 इसने कोई रिटर्न नहीं दिया
नहीं यहाँ पे मेरे पास written नहीं है.
नहीं ओके वी मूव ऑन प्लीज कम टू 11 दिस इज असद कैसर इसने रिटर्न दिया
11 असद कैसर there's a tick.
क्योंकि
Yes
इसने
sir.
दोनों दे के फिर इसने विड्रॉ किया ना
That's right.
ओके फिर आ जाए शाहराम खान इसने भी दोनों दे के
शाहराम खान साहब का हाँ 12 जी there's a written application sir
वी
from
गो
him.
ऑन प्लीज कम टू नंबर 20 अरबाब आमिर अयूब
Here I don't have a written one.
You don't have that.
That's right.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
Same is the case with serial number 22. Sher Ali Arbab. इसने भी नहीं दिया.
I don't have a written one.
We move on. Let's go to number 29. This is serial number 29.
Same sir. Same answer.
But 29 is different, 66 certificate is not of a part.
वो फिर एक
यानी आपका ये है कि आपने दोनों चीजें बीच में डाल दी हैं लेकिन अगर राइटिंग में नहीं है तो फिर आपने उसे
मैं कह रहा हूँ कि वो रिक्वेस्ट तो आई थी उनसे वो
रिक्वेस्ट ओरल आई थी
oral आई थी and in some cases sir, basically
यहाँ पे सवाल आता
under
है
instructions may I say my lord that the ECP has instructed me that in those cases either the candidate himself or his advocate went to the RO and sought this change.
So, Mr. Sikandar, just to take
But
this...
I don't have that here.
There seems to be, to my mind, an answer to the problem. But if you could just tell me what is your admitted position where there is no flaw? I mean, they have a certificate, they have a nomination, the house is in order. Could be 1, 2, 5...
मुझे अगर कोई एक number, I'm sorry to ask the
out of
question
this list of
मुझे कोई
84,
एक बता दे मैं
आप बता
उस
दें
हिसाब से
कि according to you, in this list of 84, what's ECP's position कि 1, 2, 4, 5 कितने candidates थे जिनका certificate और nomination intact ही खड़ा रहा?
नहीं रहा किसी का
भी नहीं आपने बता
because sir because वो सारे independents थे
नहीं
because there was
independent
one
तो आपने डिक्लेयर कर दिया
intact किसी का भी
हम
नहीं
आपसे बाद में एक सवाल को जरा अप्रिशिएट कर लें इस लिस्ट में क्योंकि आपने दिया हुआ है I had identified 9 such people who have a nomination and a certificate
Basically it says PTI, PTI.
and then applying the Justice Yaya test on it कि अगर उसमें और कोई flaw भी आ गया तो कोई जो purest form में है there are still some candidates who pass the basic test of nomination of 67-2 which are nomination भी है और certificate भी है it does not matter how many they are as long as there are just 1 or 2 because that would then make the political party a political party and then
those tickets the PTI tickets are void ab initio.
चलें वो तो
बात की बात है
because if you know what I'm
That's
trying to
what my
say is
solution
that suppose one way forward would be that if we consider that the declaration of independence of these people was wrong it then takes you back into a political party coming into existence once that is done and you come up with the revised result under 98 the 3-day period ticks off again and the independents could be given a choice to go select whatever they want to go and the house is on order we don't need to get into SIC we don't need to get into proportional representation the whole problem is solved.
My submission on I think I'm repeating but the tickets are void ab initio and even today as I stand here there is no legally recognizable individual, because there is no IPE, who can validly issue a ticket even today.
How you can say that the ticket is void? How you can say?
Because it's not issued by...
सिकंदर, आपका सारा premise ये है कि since they didn't hold party elections, therefore purportedly they were disqualified to hold themselves out to the people as a political party. Now this is the premise on which you have built your pura edifice. Now this premise, if this court, as my Lord Justice Mansoor Ali Shah has just suggested, if this premise is removed because this court or that judgment did not in any manner could be construed as disqualifying a political party. Now, there was a political party, enlisted political party. It was not delisted. Otherwise, they would have come to this court in appeal. But the Election Commission, probably speaking for myself, my Lord, did not fulfill its obligation and treated them as if they were a disqualified enlisted party. Now here you see, आपका पूरा premise जो है वो खराब हो जाता है.
My Lord, I bow to my Lord's observations. I've made my submissions on it. It is ultimately for my Lords and this bench to give findings on. But
coming to SIC, you say that they are not allowed the independents to join them because they didn't contest the election. That's your submission.
Ladyship, I have 2 points there. One, they did not, SIC did not field a candidate under its own common election symbol, which is one of the conditions. And in addition to that, it did not have a returned candidate. It did not, or if I were to say it in one sentence, I would submit, it did not successfully field a candidate under its own election symbol.
Right. So now in this CM that's been filed 5943 by the Advocate General KPK, they say that in the previous election, you allowed reserve seats to the Balochistan Awami Party, despite the fact that they didn't participate in the election, nor did they submit a list of candidates for reserve seats for women. But they were given reserve seats. So why has your position changed in this election?
I have taken instructions on that, CM, my ladyship, and under instructions I submit that the commission has gone through this record, the current commission as proposed. There was a context, my ladyship, the 25th constitutional amendment ke baad, when the FATA areas were merged, there's a context in which that happened. The ECP's humble submission is that this decision is not compliant with Section 50.
But did the ECP have a meeting and sit and look at the record and then come up with all these ideas, or it just
didn't? I have asked, so there is just on file, this decision has been taken without a hearing. There is no speaking order as such. That is the
तो फिर
answer.
आपने ये वाले केसेस इस केस से डिस्टिंग्विश करने के लिए क्यों नहीं कोई ऑर्डर पास किया या कहीं मीटिंग की to show that you disagree with this?
लेडीशिप, इसमें तो फिर फुल हियरिंग हुई और